So thank you, Scott, for coming out to meet with us. And today's topic from Scott is no more lawsuits, legal and social defense through the Ohana way. So everybody give Scott a big round of applause as we begin our session.
Do we have my mic on? All right. So my name is Scott Conway. Most people don't remember Conway very well, but they remember I'm Scott with one T. And certainly a branding trick is if your branding is just happening, don't fight what's happening. So now I went out and got the website scotwith1t.com because people were remembering Scott with one T. They weren't remembering Scott Conway. In fact, when they were going to my designated website, scottconway.com and scottconway.org, well, how does everyone spell Scott? With two T's. No one was finding me because they're going to the wrong place. So that's just a branding tip. If your branding is happening different than you planned, go with what's happening. So we're going to talk about the Ohana way as legal and social self-defense. My challenge today is that I'm doing a 90-minute talk in 30 minutes. So it's going to be fast-paced. What that means is you want my slide deck. So that's an email, and I will send you my slide deck when I'm back available during the work week. And so if you send me an email, tell me it's Riverside, because you don't want my slides from another thing that's not this. And so that way I send you the right slide deck, and you can get that as we go racing through this.
They'll be on the WordCamp website.
All right, awesome. So first I'm going to start with legal issues. Since I found out I'm the only lawyer here, and I'm the only one talking about some of this here, I want to do a quick interlude on a few key points and do this really fast. For getting your legal structure in place, getting your paperwork handled, your procedures followed, it's your safety net. The goal, of course, is to not need your safety net. It's like having insurance. Your goal isn't to use your insurance. Your goal is to have the insurance as a safety net and hopefully never need it. All of us really, really hope that we will be paying for our car insurance for our entire lives and never have to file a claim, after which point the insurance goes up, right? So the legal structure, it's the same thing. You want to not need it for your legal defense. You want to have it because that's your final barrier against losing all of your stuff. But the goal is to not need it. You just want to make sure you have it. A couple of things on legal structures. Number one, you don't need a lawyer. Or you probably don't need a legal structure to start. A lot of people want to know, well, do I make an LLC? Do I make a corporation? I find that the solopreneur is just getting started. In the state of California, they will charge you $800 a year to have it. I had one client that came to me in March. They found out that they wanted to have their company appear older, so they found it on December 31st. State of California says, congratulations, you owe us $800 for having your company for one day. So you want to just be aware of that, and you probably don't need a legal structure just to start out. Wait until you're making some money. If you make a legal structure, you don't need a lawyer to get it done. However, you should get some legal guidance about the structure to use. And we're going to talk about a few key things about legal structures and how they can impact you. So Business Protection 101, insurance. Have insurance. That way, if you need a lawyer, your insurance company pays for the lawyer. Make sure you don't just go get an insurance policy. Talk to a qualified agent about what you're doing and what you think the possible dangers could be. And then that way they can help set you up with the proper insurance. This way, if you get a lawsuit, instead of having to say, oh my gosh, I have to go find a lawyer, you just go to your agent and hand it to your agent and say, here, handle this. And so you just want to have your insurance, whether you're a company, whether you're an individual, whether you're a partnership, that will take care of at least the first one and give you the first tier of protection. Now, legal structure danger. Now, this gets to be a problem some people run into. If you get sued, you can represent yourself. So if you think, okay, well, I know what went on, I don't want to have to pay a lawyer, I can handle this myself. If you make an LLC or you make a corporation, you can't do that anymore. You have to have a lawyer. So, I mean, the only exception is like, I can represent my companies because I am a lawyer. And so I can represent, my own entities, but not because it's my entity, but because I'm an attorney in the state of California. But if I get sued in another state, I need a lawyer from that state. And even as a lawyer, you get sued anywhere out of your jurisdiction. I mean, how far do you want to drive to be involved in litigation? So you have your insurance to cover that. You can appear for your own company in small claims court, but that's really it. So just be aware of that, that if you make an entity, you really want to have insurance because you have to get a lawyer. LLC dangers, I actually was working with someone who is at the camp this week. Unanimous decisions. When you form an LLC with partners, you all have like a designated ownership interests. When one of the partners decides, I'm not doing it anymore, but they still own a quarter of your company. And you say, okay, well then you're not getting anything. You can't get rid of him without his consent. And so that's the problem we ran into, is we were kind of going over the operating agreement that they had, and unless there's specific procedures they individually signed off on, it requires unanimous decisions at the owner level to make any meaningful changes in the LLC. They got stuck having to buy out the person who abandoned the company because he still owned a quarter. And so you have to be aware of stuff like that. Corporate danger, annual meetings. You need your shareholders meetings, you need your directors meetings. You have to have minutes of those meetings. I gave this presentation one time in a bit more detail. The first email waiting for me in my inbox was sent to me while I was still talking was, I haven't done minutes ever. What do I need to do? 8 years he hadn't done minutes. What that means is if the company gets sued and there are no minutes, a procedure takes over called alter ego, which basically treats the company like it's you. It ignores the shield. And so you want to make sure that you follow your procedures there. Get everything in writing and agree to at the beginning of any partnership entity. Make sure it includes your exit strategy, includes a separation strategy, so you know how do we get out of this if things go bad. Basically, it's a business version of a prenup. Entity Finance 101. This is huge. I can't even tell you how many clients get in trouble with this one. No commingling of funds. The entity is the entity. You are you. You might be the only owner of the entity. You might have the tax strategy exemptions where it just passes through straight to you, and you kind of start to think of it, well, this is my money. It's not your money, it's the company's money. Your money is your money, the company's money is the company's money. Do not pay personal bills with company funds. So I am not going to write a check out of my corporate account to pay my phone bill, my personal bills. Because if I do that, now I'm creating alter ego. I'm eliminating my own shield. Here's the one that surprises people. Do not pay company bills with personal funds. And I'm going, the business is kind of tight. There's no money there, but that's okay. I have the money. I'll just pay the bill. No big deal. Well, that's alter ego too. What I need to do is move the funds from my account into the company account. Document that the company now owes me, say, $10,000, and I loan my company $10,000, and then the company pays the bills out of that, and the company owes me my $10,000. So you want to make sure you do stuff like this. These are the top killers that clients have gotten themselves in a mess. They end up losing their legal shield. They didn't have insurance because they thought the company was going to protect them. They're getting sued. The company has no money for a lawyer. They've commingled their funds. They paid company bills with their own money because they were just starting out, and they're already in trouble, and they're only on the third client. So that's just some things to watch out for. All that said, your best defense, do not get sued in the first place. If you can avoid getting sued, none of that stuff is going to ultimately matter. You don't need a defense if no one's attacking. Here's the short version of the legal principle. Whether they have a case or not, people do not sue people they like. Whether they have a case or not, people do sue people they don't like. Even in my own life, I can't even tell you how many times I've gotten calls or messages from people and they want to sue somebody. And I'm listening to what they're telling me happened. Like, well, I can see why that would be aggravating. I can see why you're angry. I don't see where the case is, though. But they want to sue somebody. Now, I'm a pretty ethical attorney. I don't like frivolous lawsuits. But what if I wasn't? And I go, all right, I got someone who's mad at someone. Let's file a lawsuit where we'll just get a couple of thousand out of them, 5,000, 10,000, because it's just not going to be worth it to them to fight it. And if I was one of those kind of lawyers, and I've done battle with those kind of lawyers before, and it just boils down to it. I've had to tell clients, like, look, it's going to cost you $15,000 to show that you're right. Or they can go away for 5. Which one do you want to do? Some say, it's the principle of the thing. And most go, $15,000, but I'm right. They have no case. Well, I know they have no case. It's going to cost $15,000 to show they have no case. And that's in a simple case. If you get in protracted litigation, I had a case I just handled. My side was dead on right. We won a $200,000 judgment. It took us 4.5 years to win a $200,000 judgment. We were so right that the other side got sent to prison. One of the defendants died in prison. The defendant's lawyer got sent to prison. The other defendant didn't get locked up very long, but then he's out of probation. The 2 other defendants lost their license. Everybody went out of business and the real estate was gone. $200,000 judgment, nobody to collect it. Dead right, no money. So it doesn't even matter if you're right. You want to watch out for this. Just be aware, it doesn't matter if you're right. Do you want to spend the time and the money to have the fight? I'm a martial arts master. One of the things I tell people is, ultimately, in reality, there's no winner in a fight. Because the person who won the fight is going home hurt. And so when I'm teaching my students, I tell them, you win if you go home and have dinner with your family. If I'm leaving my dojo and I want to go home and have dinner with my family, and then I'm home having dinner with my family, I won. If I can do that without having to beat anyone up, that's great. If I go home and I've got a black eye, I'm hurt. I may have beat the guy, and he may even been hauled off to jail. Now I'm at home having dinner with my family and in pain. Not quite the win I could have had if I just went home, right? And so that's part of the way you think about it. You might win your fight, but do you really want to get beat up that much on the way to winning the fight? So in this modern era, it's not just lawsuits that are business killers, it's also reviews on social media. A dentist friend of mine, he found out there were dental review sites that none of us knew existed. He found out because one patient she was so mad. She went hunting them down. And so there's a whole bunch of them, because they're so rare, there's all of one review on them about him, and that's from that one person. And he has the 1-star review telling about how awful he is. Because she was mad. Just mad. He didn't do anything other than she didn't get her way. She was ticked off. Off she goes flaming. And so those are the things we watch out for. It's really hard to use law and contract to defend against social media posts. So, to help us with all of this, we have the Ohio way. Now, if you've seen Lilo and Stitch, who's seen Lilo and Stitch? Okay. As we go through this lesson, I'm going to ask for some participation. Now, so you guys know, I also teach the Ohio way to kids. The youngest kids I have that are learning this start as young as 4. And their parents who are there while I'm teaching their kids are like, oh man, if I only knew that when I was a kid. Now part of it, to help them remember, and it helps us remember as adults, is we do some back and forth to help us remember. And in this case, it's also going to help me teach the kids, because we're going to show the kids the video. So they see, like, you see the grown-ups want to learn this stuff too. And there's good stuff. So Ohana. Ohana means family. Family means no one gets left behind or forgotten. Lilo and Stitch, 2002. Figure that's a pretty good definition. No sense fighting was already in pop culture, so we'll go with that. But building on this, start with the story, the car crash. So this says Guardian Academy, martial arts school. Anyone see a problem with the storefront? That's my martial arts school. That was July 9th, this last summer. Now here's part of the story. I'm in Las Vegas. I'm out of town. My school's in San Diego. And I'm having a lovely evening out with this raven-haired beauty, and we're at the Wynn, and we're wondering. I look at my phone, and it's been blowing up, and it turns out that there's one of my friend's students who's been trying to get hold of me, like right around midnight. But well, that's odd, but let me call him back. This is what he's calling from. He's standing over here, looking at that, took a picture, sent it to me, I'm out of town. What happened next is I had 4 people on site at midnight taking care of this. The next morning, I had a dozen people just show up. I didn't call them. They just showed up to help. My students, my black belts, family members of students, all showing up to help put this thing back together. 24 hours later, the place is cleaned up, the place is boarded up, and everything is secure. None of these people are employees. I didn't pay any of them. I didn't hire a company to do it. I'm out of town. Now, I have some business friends that I was in Las Vegas with, and they look at me like, aren't you going home? I said, no, I don't need to go home. They got it. In fact, not only do they got it, but the home crew said, don't come home, stay and enjoy your vacation. We got one person said, don't you dare come home. If you come home, we will be personally insulted. And they took care of all of this. And I'm gone until Wednesday. And this happened on a Saturday. And several of my business friends are like, that's crazy. Why aren't you going home? I was like, I don't need to. Well, aren't you, just in case. Like, I don't need to. Like, these aren't paid people. You don't know what kind of work they're doing. But I do, because they're Ohana. These people are Ohana. And they showed up to take care of it because they're Ohana. These are people who pay me, and they're showing up to help out me, even though they're my clients. They give me money for me to do stuff for them. I don't give them money to come do stuff for me. And people are there at midnight taking care of this for me. That's Ohana. So, of course, Ohana means family, but we also use it as an acronym. And as we build our way through this acronym, the acronym starts off as OASIS. So, O-ASIS. And then first time through, I'm just going to tell you how we say it, and then second time through, you guys are going to help me out here. So OASIS, be a refreshing refuge. And the way we do that is we go, OASIS. So it sounds calm, it sounds relaxing. Next one is harmony. Embrace infinite diversity and infinite combinations aimed at greatness. And every once in a while I run into someone who's Trekkie enough to go, oh, that's like mostly the Vulcan thing. But the idea is music. Infinite diversity, infinite combinations. There's no end to the number and type of instruments that we have and can invent, and the ways we can put them together. There's no end to the number of songs and pieces of music that we can make, so long as we all aim it at greatness. You can't just have an 80-person orchestra all showing up with whatever they want, doing whatever they want. You have to put it together. And the way we say this one is harmony. So it sounds like everyone's getting along. Next we have assertiveness. This one we say is assertiveness. So it's clear, boom, 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 boom. And assertiveness is moving forward on purpose with respect for others. Then we have nobility. Nobility, be our highest and best selves. And then finally, and this is the one I really need the help with because the kids don't think the grown-ups are going to do it. Aloha. Has anyone here ever been to Hawaii? Does anyone ever get up on stage and just say, aloha? That is not the way they do it. It's like a violation of state law in Hawaii. You have to say, aloha! So you guys are going to have to help me out with that in just a minute. Aloha means love in all its many meanings and manifestations. So here's a list. So first we're going to do it back and forth, what we call echoes. I do it first, you follow up. And then if it seems like we've got it, then we'll do it all together. And for this, if Andrea will come up on stage for me, so that way we can get some video going that way. If you guys can help me out with this, this will get the kids jazzed. Okay, so, Oasis.
Oasis.
Harmony.
Harmony.
Assertiveness.
Assertiveness.
Nobility.
Nobility.
And aloha. Okay, all together, straight through. Oasis, harmony, assertiveness, nobility, and aloha. All right, now we're having fun. So let's go just a little bit deeper into each one of these. Oasis, be a refreshing refuge. An oasis, what we mean by be the oasis. It's the place where you have no enemies. It's the place where you can drop your guard. It's your safe harbor. And it's this idea that If my home is an oasis, that means I can go home, I can drop my guard. I don't have enemies at home. I can put down my shield, I can put down my sword, I'm not going to have to do battle here. Now I understand for a lot of people that's not home. For some people that's someplace else. But everybody needs an oasis. Now you can be the oasis. If you are an oasis for your clients, if you are an oasis for your team members, where they feel like I don't have to be on guard with you. You are safe for me to talk to. I can trust you to be looking out for my interests. You're not going to stab me in the back. You're not going to be manipulating me. You're not going to be telling me stuff that you know isn't true just so I'll pay you more money for something I really don't need. And you can be that person and they believe you are that person, then they can relax around you. And when you become the trusted person, where they might have their guard up with every salesperson, they might have their guard up with every person telling them anything, but if you are their oasis and they know they can count on you, they can, The idea to be an oasis is I make it better because I'm here. I show up, it's better. Why? Because I show up. I help create a refuge from the usual, from the annoying, from the difficult. I'm a plus, not a minus. So with the arrival of a group of black belts, what's one of the common things people say when black belts, oh, I better not make you angry. But if you actually have a group of black belts show up, this part was pretty cool. Someone was doing a check-in for me and my whole team. Well, it turned out the whole team I had, they were all black belts. So I get Andrea, my assistant who's helping me out here, she's a 3rd degree black belt. Her husband's a 3rd degree black belt. And I went to a place where I was there with my stepsons, who are all black belts. And someone was checking us all in, and they heard the conversation, like, are you guys black belts? And we all said, well, yeah. I said, wow, I feel really safe now. That's what that's like. The person talking to us realized, I'm in an oasis now. If stuff goes bad, these people got it. I don't have to worry about it. I can relax. And I've been that oasis where someone came to find me and said, Scott, Master Scott, there's a problem out front. Can you come help? And I went out front, and there was some guy who, he was probably drunk. I hope he was drunk. He wasn't doing this sober. And he's being super belligerent. He's threatening everybody. And I just went and handled him. Because they knew when all this started, wait, Scott's in the room. He can handle this. He can take care of it. And as soon as they saw me come out the door to talk to the person, everyone just, okay, that's oasis. They knew that because I'm there, it's better. They know that I'm someone they can trust to handle the situation one way or another, whatever needs to be done. And if your clients know, if only I can get hold of you, if only I can get hold of Jeremy, then we're going to be good. If only I can get hold, I got you. And they can relax. They know the problem's going to be solved because I got hold of you. Harmony, embrace infinite diversity, infinite combinations aimed at greatness. The concept here, of course, is music. But they all have to be aimed at making great music together. Everyone has their part to play. A team of great players all in just one position will not win. If I gather a football team of the best quarterbacks in history, are we going to win a game? Or do we need some quarterbacks, some receivers, and we have some people, we got to run the ball, we got to pass the ball, and someone's got to keep the quarterback from getting sacked while we do either one of those, and, right? You need qualified people in every position. That's harmony. You work together as a team. Teamwork almost always requires differences to avoid redundancy and gaps. And one of the things that we teach sometimes is the simple idea of hire to your gaps. We like sometimes out of reflex, we hire people just like us. Well, I already have someone just like me. What I need is someone who does the stuff I don't do. So if you walk into my office when I've been by myself for a month, and you ask me to find something, it's in one of those 3 piles. Probably, unless it hasn't made it to a pile yet. So if I hire someone, do I need another me that's going to make more piles, or do I need to hire someone who's more organized? That when I had a woman working for me one time, this one was funny because I needed an extension cord. And I said, where are the extension cords? I know we have, don't we have some? And she said, yeah, we have some. Well, where are they? They're in the box marked extension cords. I said, they have a box marked extension cords? We never had a box marked extension cords when I was doing things. Walked into the storage closet, there's a box, it's marked extension cords. Guess what was in it? Extension cords. That's who I need to hire. I need to hire someone who can do the organizing part for me. And so when you're building a team, you look for what do I need to complete the team, not what do I want more of me. It's not even necessarily who I get along with. I don't always get along with the super orderly people very well, but I need them. And that's part of harmony. We don't have to be alike to be together. 101% rule. I learned this from John Maxwell ages ago. The 101% rule is find the 1% you agree on and give it 100% of your focus. Because if I need one of those kind of hyper-organized, slightly anal retentive people, that is so not me. Would it be really easy for us to have friction and fight about everything? Really easy. But we find, what do we agree on? What are we both here for on the same page? And we focus our relationship and our attention on where we agree. For whatever reason, our society has developed that we go straight to where we disagree first. And we start with the fight. And as we start off fighting, we never figure out what we agree on. I like to start with the agreement and see if we really do have to fight. And very often we don't have to fight. And part of this is, it's the martial arts metaphor again. I don't want to get in an unnecessary fight. If I have to fight, I'll fight. But even then, when I have to fight, I want to use as little force as the bad guy makes absolutely necessary. I think I've used my skills in physical confrontation all of 4 times. I've been in my 26 and 22 of the 26, and I just talked them down. Didn't require any force at all. 3 of those 4 times, I used very little force. No one was injured. Well, one guy might have had bruise marks from the shoulder pressure points I kept hitting to keep him from throwing his punches. But other than that, you have very little force. And only one person I ever have to hit. And I only hit him 1 time. And he got hit hard enough, solid enough, backed off, and he stopped. Do I have to hit him again? I don't. It's over. No more fighting. Now we can talk. 101% rule. Assertiveness, or assertiveness. Moving forward on purpose with respect for others. Now there's assertiveness and there's aggressiveness. And because of how fuzzy so many words are in the English language, I like to just define my terms so you know what my terms are. So aggressive is moving without respect for others. Assertiveness is moving forward on purpose with respect for others. Has anyone here ever been mad? Okay, so 4 of us. So 4 of us, besides me, have been mad. And you feel aggressive. Has anyone ever accomplished your anger goals and later on that you realize, okay, I won, but now you're calm and you realize, no, actually, I guess I lost. I won my argument, I won my point, but I'm losing on the big picture. Kind of, if I have a dispute with my best friend, and so, well, I showed him, but why he's not coming around anymore. And I had a friend who got in this vicious argument with me. And I'm being pretty mellow about it all. I'm also beginning to watch and say, like, this guy actually is being kind of a jerk. And he wouldn't stop. And I thought, I don't know if I really want to hang out with this guy quite so much. Because look how mean he's being. He was being really aggressive. He said everything he wanted to say. Later on, probably 80% of it, he wishes it had never come out of his mouth. Aggression makes you want to say things you shouldn't say, makes you want to do things you shouldn't do, and it doesn't think about other people, it just thinks about what it feels like in the moment. Assertiveness is very different. Assertiveness is moving forward. So first off, assertiveness has a defined forward. Now, I'm being assertive and you're being assertive. We might decide on different forwards. You might have one idea what forward is, I have a different idea what forward is, but we have a forward. And that this is our goal, this is where we're going. And then on purpose, which has a double meaning. One obvious part of on purpose is I'm doing it intentionally. The other part of it is I have a larger purpose, that this serves my bigger purpose in some way, shape, or form. And I do it with respect for others. So suppose I'm married. One of my purposes might be to have a good relationship with my wife. And so what if I defeat my wife? I am a 9th degree black belt and a lawyer. I mean, pick the arena. I am highly trained for conflict, right? Would anyone want to argue with me in a social situation or a relationship? You're not going to be able to out-argue me. I'm too well trained unless I'm married to another high-level black belt lawyer who might be equally trained. Lord only knows. Can you imagine watching that argument? But part of the purpose is I have a relationship here to protect. I have a relationship here to build. What's my forward? and do it with respect for the person that I might be moving against, even if I have to move against someone, and do it with respect for all of the stakeholders. So you're being assertive with the client, you're moving forward with the client, you know what your forward is, and hopefully you can define that for your client. You're doing it on purpose and with a purpose and with respect for your client. And if you're doing the oasis thing, so your client trusts you, so your client can drop their guard and say, okay, I don't understand what it is you're doing. I don't really understand why. You explained it all to me. It sounds like voodoo black magic to me, because I get the idea. I have a website, WordPress, that's a thing, right? And the rest of that, I don't know what a plugin is. I don't know whatever that other thing is you said was. All I need to know is I need a website. And the rest is gobbledygook to them. But if they trust you at oasis level, and they can trust you to be being assertive and showing respect for them, they can just let you do what you need to do. So for assertiveness, what do you choose? Can you define your choice? What's your plan? How are you going about this? Can you explain what you're doing? And then a periodic check-in of how is that working out for you? And then adjust accordingly. Then nobility. Nobility is be our highest and best selves. The metaphor there is a royal knight. Royal, it means you represent crown and country. So if I am the only Conway you meet, and you've never met another Conway, and then some cute little Japanese woman shows up and you get told, oh, that's Scot's mom. Now, if I've done a good job, you're going to see my mom and go, oh, she must be a good person because she raised a great son. On the other hand, if I am a total jerk, and then you meet my mom, you might be nice to her, but you're probably going to think, like, I don't know what you did, lady, but not a good job being a mom. And very often, like when I'm talking about relationship stuff, someone says, oh, do you have a brother? Well, why do they say that? Because they assume if I am a representation of what a Conway is, that if you can find another Conway, he'll probably be something like me. So that's the royal thing. The royalty represents crown and country. You represent your brand. You represent your name. You represent your company. That you might be the only access point someone has to this whole world, and you will represent that to them. And so if you only know one employee at one company, if you're flying Delta Airlines and Jeannie at the ticket desk is the one who's helping you or not helping you, it's not Delta Airlines, it's Jeannie Airlines to you. And you will feel about Delta based upon how Jeannie treats you, right? And royalty is responsible for setting the standard and for being the leader. Because if you're the only one they see, you are the standard. If you are your own company, you are the standard. You are your brand. However else you brand it, no matter what words you use, no matter what your marketing looks like, no matter what your pitch is like, you are your brand if you're a solopreneur. And the scary part is you are the company's brand. Even if you have a company of 100 people, to the client who only sees you, you are the company. And so you want to make sure that you're being your highest and best self, you're representing crown and country, and you're setting the standard for solid leadership. On the knightly side, courage, honor, standing up for others, doing the right thing. And sometimes doing the right thing is painful. Sometimes doing the right thing means I realize if I've messed up, I owe an apology. And I'm really good at apologies because I've had a lot of practice giving apologies. I even have a whole apology system I teach based upon the apologies I give a lot. But here's the cool thing is people know if I mess up, I'll own up to it. And then I'll try to make up for it. And sometimes that's expensive because, if I had an expensive oversight, sometimes that's going to cost me some time and it's going to cost me some money. And in one case, cost me a round trip drive up to the Orange County Courthouse to handle a situation. It took me half a day to fix an oops. But when my client found out that I did that, they were astonished. And it just boiled down to is I had formatted a document incorrectly. I formatted it according to the San Diego court standards, and it turned out the Orange County court standards were a little different. It got rejected. It was the deadline day. It had to be fixed. It had to be refiled. It had to be dropped off in person to the courtroom. And when my client found out that I made a 6-hour round trip, I left my house at 6 a.m. to drop it off on that day, they were astonished. But I would do the right thing when I'm the one who blew it. And that's part of nobility, doing the right thing. being your highest and best selves, is you find those moments where you are the most proud of your character, when you are the most proud of how you are behaving, when you most feel like, you know, the whole world just did it this way. What an incredible planet we would live on. Those moments, seek to make that your new normal. The more you can just make that your normal, the better things will be. And the more proud of yourself you'll be. When you wake up in the morning and you look at yourself in the mirror and you're awesome. And you mean it. Because you've done some awesome things. Not like spectacular goal setting and goal achievement, but you have been great to people. And you can trust yourself. You can like yourself like other people should like you. You can love yourself the way other people should love you. You can respect yourself. And then aloha. I said that wrong, didn't I?
You did.
Yeah, I did.
Aloha.
Okay, all right, so I'll fix that. Want to help me out? Yeah. Okay, ready now. Aloha! Okay, now we got it right. In love in all of its many meanings and manifestations, Love 101. And now this is fun because I just got done teaching this to preteens, middle schoolers. So, number one, I want the best for you. Number two, I want to be the best for you. And number three, I want you to have transcendent joy. Now, if you start on that, now, I trust I'm probably not the only one who had a relationship in high school. If you knew this in high school, would that have made a difference maybe in your choice of your first boyfriends or girlfriends? Could have. If you realized when you were going to tell someone that you love them, this is what that's supposed to mean, might that have changed who you said it to? Mm-hmm. Might have. When I had an instructor who was asking me, like, how do you put up with some of these students? I told him, here's your simple rule. You have to love your students. This is what this means. And I laid out these 3 steps. And she's like, oh, so like being in charge doesn't mean I can do what I want? It's like, well, as long as what you want is taking care of your students, you want the best for them, you want to be the best instructor for them, you want them, big picture. So joy isn't pleasure in a moment. It's not even happiness circumstantially. It's getting anchored to them, things that are big enough that they can have good feelings even when things are going bad. What if you did this for your clients? What if your clients trusted you were doing this for them? That they know you want the best for them. So much so that if you can't do a job for them, you will tell them so. And especially if you want to be the best for them, being the best for them might be not the one to do the job. If you come to me and say, okay, I need to do this thing. I can do it well for you. So, oh, but I need a trust. Or you tell me about your estate and I determine you need a trust. I will not write that trust for you. I have a colleague that does trusts. Because here's the thing. If a case passed Thursday, the new law takes effect Friday, I'm not going to know. I did an addendum to a trust for a family member, and I ran it by my expert, and it was just a quick little one-page adjustment, no big deal. Turned out to be a big deal. Because in the trust, there was one sentence that was invalidated when you made an addendum. The new law took effect, and it accomplished, you could still do it, but it took a page and a half of verbose legal language to accomplish what one sentence used to do. I didn't know that. If I didn't have my expert to run that by, could have crashed and burned my family member's estate. And so that's what I want the best for you. I'm not going to do something for you I can't do. I will find you someone who can, or I'll just tell you I can't and let you know you need to find someone who can. I won't say yes if I can't deliver. But I want you to have transcendent joys. I want you to have that good feeling. You are being taken care of. Things will be handled. And I'm not going to make a problem for you. I'm only going to help. You have agape, phileo, eros. And this is the way I use it. And that's not a strict Greek pronunciation on this, but here's a short version. Unconditional love. People think unconditional love is better than conditional love. It actually isn't. It's different. Unconditional is unconditional because it's character-driven. That is who you are. That is your character. That's why everybody gets it equally, because that's just who you are. This is different, the conditional relationship-driven stuff. If you do good things with and for your clients, good things with and for your partners, your joint venture people, with your vendors, with your team members, you're building the relationship. You bring good feelings when they think about how you guys connect, how you work together. And then the eros is the experiential, the sensation-driven. Those are the moments when cool stuff happens. That's why people bring donuts to meetings, is they're creating a sensation, they're creating a feeling, a high point. When you ride a roller coaster, or in my case, the example I keep using is cheesecake. I have to be careful because you know, I'll stop a cheesecake factory on my way home. But from the moment I take that first bite of, oh my gosh. And then, but as soon as I've had my last bite, it's done. And that's the experiential, the sensation-driven. The simple part of aloha, be a plus, not a minus. That if you are a plus in someone's life, not a minus, then that's a good thing. And then they're more likely to want to see you more, hang out with you more, do business with you more, provide for you more, whatever it is. Show up and fix your dojo more when someone crashes into it. And the principle here is we are partners, not opponents. Your clients are not your opponents. You're not trying to defeat them. You're trying to figure out how can I partner with my clients to solve a problem. And once you're a client's opponent, that's when we're talking about them looking for an excuse to sue you. Especially if you manage to defeat them in whatever the forum is, you're treating them like an opponent, then they want to go get their hired gun, the lawyer, and come shoot you in the back, lawsuit. And you don't want that. And so, but if you can partner with people, then you can get things moving forward. So, all together, ready? And oasis, harmony, assertiveness, nobility, and aloha. Now remember to email me for the slide deck. I've got just a few more minutes. I'm going to show you why you want to make sure you get the slide deck. Because remember I told you 90 minutes? And I'm doing it in 30. I don't have time to talk very much about this, but there's something called the Ohana 5x5 that includes 5 deep in each one of the lessons. I'm not even going to have time to read it, but here it is. Oasis has those 5. Harmony has those 5. Assertiveness has those 5. Nobility has those 5. At least that's quick and easy. Aloha has those 5. And then I didn't get to talk at all about the 4P360 leadership with the 7 directions, 4 rules, 4 pillars, and the only 360-degree leadership system that is out there. Me and John Maxwell are the only 2 people talking 360-degree leaders. You want to at least get that chart so you have some idea what that's about. And treasure and trash is a powerful foundational principle to find and make more life treasure, get rid of trash in life. That was also a lot of fun. And boy, if you can be a treasure maker and a treasure hunter for your clients, they will come back to you forever. So that is my email, Scott Conway, scott@onetwood.com. Email me, ask me for the slide deck, go to the website for the camp. You can download the slide deck. I sent it to them both in PDF and in the PowerPoint. If you email me directly, I'll send you the slide deck and some other stuff. And you're all free. And if you want to find other things that can help you out with that, answer any questions that you may have. And with that, let me sign off with this, and you can call it back to me if you want to, is aloha! Aloha! And we are officially open for Q&A. Thank you very much. Yes, question in the back.
You talked about having to keep company minutes, like if you're in a corporation.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of information, like what's supposed to be discussed at these meetings?
Okay, so the question is about company minutes, what has to happen in the meetings, and what needs to go in the minutes. Well, this gives me one of the interesting things. When it comes to corporations in general, the odd thing is nothing in particular has to be in the minutes. You're required to have the meeting though. But that sounds kind of weird. I have literally done meetings where the whole meeting was meeting called to order, and that goes in the company minutes. Is there any new business to discuss? No. Meeting adjourned. And that was literally the meeting. And that has to go in the corporate book when there's nothing to do. And it's because it was the first meeting, there was nothing to do. We already had all the other things still coming in place. Something I will usually do in there is just to ratify all executive actions taken in the past year. For the shareholders, it's the appointment of directors, and it can just be the ongoing appointment of directors, or no objection to existing directors, or no change in directors, however you want to phrase that. And then meeting adjourned, and that could be it for the shareholder meeting. Then the director meeting has to do with directly on the company, and then you go forward from that one of, approve all executive actions taken by company officers. And that's your minimum. Now, if you have business to do, you just jot down just one sentence about what it is. And if it's something more complicated, it's what's the issue, what was discussed, what were the options, what was the decision. And even that can be like one paragraph long.
So you can handwrite this on 3-hole punch paper and stick it into your company book?
You could. I would usually recommend to type it up just so that it's clearer and you have an electronic copy just in case something happens to the book.
Okay.
And have it signed off by whoever has the chief operations officer or the secretary position, whichever designations you're using, sign off on the minutes. And then subsequent meetings, you just approve the minutes from the last meeting. Okay, so that's the 45 minutes. I will be sticking around for the rest of the day. I am speaking in San Diego tomorrow, so I won't be back here tomorrow. But email me any other questions you have, and I am happy to help you. And I think we're past the 45-minute mark, so I'm going to be going to the back of the room. We're going to be setting up for Jeremy, whose stuff builds right out of here, and is awesome. I'm going to be in here for Jeremy, and in the time in between while he's setting up, you can talk to me in the back room.
All right, thank you, Scott. All right, we got that was awesome. Thank you, Scott, so much. Here you go. Everybody give Scott a big hand again. Thank you so much. And he will be in the back to take your questions, chat with you, and answer anything else you have.